We'll keep some bloopers in with this one, yeah. But Dale, I think you hit the introduction because I'll probably introduce the other podcast if I do it again. So
But I think I did that on the first episode. I introduced my podcast, which was the right way to go. But yeah, really
Make a
happy.
podcast.
Exactly. There's too many podcasts on this podcast. But yeah, super delighted and happy to have another episode here on the Value UX podcast, not the UX on Minds and not the Aligned podcast. Yeah, super happy to have Miranda Slayter. A big name. She's already appeared on Naresh's podcast, and someone that we're just over the moon that is going to be speaking at the ValueUX conference coming up at the end of September, start of October. So yeah, really happy to have you here, Miranda, today.
Yeah, happy to be here. I'm excited to talk about my my topic.
yeah, it's interesting. We're going to delve into that, and yeah, we're really glad that you're headlining at the conference. You know, it means a lot to us, and again, your name brings a lot of brand behind it, and you know, it's growing massively. Everyone is really, you know, talking about you on LinkedIn, on many different platforms, and it's an honor. I'll hit the first one, Dale. A lot of people are going to come to this conference, and I guess with any conference that that they can go to, generally what we're trying to find out is what could the audience take away from your talk that you're going to give.
Yeah, totally. So I was really tossing and turning over this topic. I think I grilled you about trying to find some insights and stuff like that that I can utilize to just make sure I really like anytime I kind of am about to do something like this where I'm talking to an audience, I really want to find something that they will be able to take something away and you know that it's relevant for them. And I'd actually just written this newsletter. And I think it really resonated with a lot of people, or it got a lot of people thinking. And it's I called it, when design speaks business, everyone listens. This is also a topic I feel like I wish I would have been empowered with a lot earlier in my career, because it would have saved me a lot of headaches just talking very UX, talking about hierarchy and dominance and all these kind of the things that we have in our arsenal as designers. But man, when you switch your language to talk about conversion and revenue and all these other things, which all the UX factors are linked to, you become exponentially more powerful as a designer. So that's what I want people to be able to take away from this talk that I want to do. I want to kind of provide this framework to map their design decisions to the user problems. To the business value through the user problems that they're trying to solve. And the other one is just to give real world examples of how to do that. How do you take the idea, oh, I'm working on this thing, we're doing it for the user, you know, we're user testing it, but how does that connect in business language to what you're trying to impact overarchingly for the company that you work for? And then just have that be a very repeatable process. Because I feel like anybody in the industry, for the most part, who learns this through trial and error and through a lot of side education and stuff like that. But once you get it down, it's super easy. You can see which UX metrics can link to business metrics. And once you kind of shift that language, you're just so much more empowered and to kind of put your recommendations forward in a way that people will listen to. And so that's what I want people to take away.
There's so much to dissect from that. Like, there's so much to go into. Dale, do you want to hit it off?
Yeah, no, that was a really, thanks for going through that as well, because it really gives me personally as well, because yours is one of the talks I also want to listen to as well, especially with being a headliner. But I'd just be curious in terms of, because you talk about obviously translating how you communicate to, let's say, business talk, being a designer. Is that something that because you mentioned just at the get-go that you wish this was something that you had when you were starting out? Is this something that you've learned through your career through trial and error, or have you picked it up from somebody else and you've made it your own? What has that journey looked like for you?
Yeah, I think I would kind of classify my entire design career as adapting to survive. So, at first it worked. It worked to be like, well, design principles and UX and hierarchy and user friction and all these other things. But since I've been working in big tech, the thing that really makes people listen is ROI and conversion and click through and these metrics. And I think you'll find, yeah, when I was starting out ages ago, that didn't matter so much, but more and more companies do A/B testing. They have more insights that they're utilizing that can now directly reflect what design is doing that does impact the business. So yes, my journey was very much trial and error, but I just, you get the sense like, oh, I'm being heard now. I'm saying relatively the same thing, but I'm saying it through the lens that I know my product counterparts, even my engineering counterparts, and especially because I'm a principal designer, right? All I work with is VPs and C-suites, and if I go in there and talk about hierarchy and and
Can only imagine.
color schemes and even accessibility at times, ain't nobody listening to me. So I can find ways to win for the user experience if I just talk in their language. So I don't think it's necessarily the most important thing as you're a junior designer. But again, the market is changing. It's more competitive. I am seeing junior designers take on some of these, this business acumen a little bit more, this product kind of metric understanding. And they're the ones that are excelling because more companies are caring about it more often. So again, yeah, I think it's going to very quickly become an absolute staple for designers, whereas it wasn't before, and it definitely wasn't when I was starting out. But do I wish working in an agency, even a full design agency, that I could have gone into my client meetings and when they said they wanted the logo bigger, I could say, well, you're compromising your click-through rate on your actual call to action, which you which is what makes you money. So, rather than being like, all the other reasons we come up with, like, don't make the logo bigger, but yeah. So.
No, that's awesome, and that's also a really good point as well about the junior designers. You might not be in a role where you need to communicate with C-suite, the VPs, etc. But if you can already start thinking about that language, how you can communicate and even focus on those aspects of design, because as you said, that's what makes the business money and that's eventually what they care about. If you can already start thinking about that and training and practicing now, you'll be a lot more prepared when you do eventually, hopefully, find yourself in a role where you are in your position now communicating in those board meetings and a part of those decision making instead of learning on the job and making mistakes or feeling out of place. It's a lot better to be prepared. So yeah, that's something that I'm really looking forward to as well in your talk, and seeing also for me preparing myself as well for when I'm in those positions. Hope.
Yeah, and I don't even think, yeah, like you said, it doesn't necessarily, you don't have to be in a higher level position, because what it does is at a lower level position, it gives you an understanding of why the heck these things are being prioritized. And a
Exactly.
lot of that, like, we're always the ones to disagree, right? The UXers, researchers, and you're like, what is going on? Why are you asking me to design this feature that I out the gate don't feel like makes any sense? But if you then understand a little bit about KPIs and a little bit about numbers and a little bit of like, oh, the goal for us this year is to get more people to do this thing, it's like, oh, okay, like I feel less like I'm floating in the abyss and just executing for the sake of my role and being like, oh, okay, we're trying to hit no, okay. I'm like, I don't have to figure out how to exactly impact that. but it just, yeah, it grounds you a little bit more, and it just doesn't put you in this position where you're always like, what the heck is going on? You know?
Absolutely.
Miranda, I think one of the key things, and it's the key ethos of ValueUX, is that the conference is accessible to everyone. And you mentioned like this talk could resonate with people all the way from junior all the way to director level. Now, would you also say that your talk can adapt to any of the different business culture situations that any of these people could be in? Because, you know, you do work for a very large corporate company, and is your teaching can be adapted to somebody that's going to be working in a startup or mid-level company? And is it something that can be used across the board?
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking about that too. I'm like, "God, I'm always in big tech mind, big tech mind." But like I was just saying before, I really wish I knew this when I was a designer working at a design agency. I really wish I knew this as a freelancer working for mom and pop shops and, you know, one-off clients. Just because designing something beautiful and usable that kind of like does the thing that they want it to is cool and nice. And I don't regret that. But if I could go back in time and really understand what they were trying to achieve as a business owner and really anchor into that and design through that lens of this is going to get, oh, hopefully that wasn't loud. I talk with my hands. Have we noticed?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, give them the confidence and the rationale for like, oh, you want more contacts? This is the way my design is going to give you more contacts. Oh, you want more people to look at this particular thing? This is why this design is going to get people to click through and see this particular thing. I would have felt so much more empowered and so much more confident in my designs if I had already delivered it through that lens. So yes, having basically done almost everything you can do as a designer in this, you know, a woolly kind of field that we're in, from big tech to freelance to agency. I really think you would be empowered to take this to have some of these takeaways regardless of the position that you're in. Yeah.
But then it comes down to that whole thing, and I think we've spoken about this many times before. Are we expecting now that these designers should adapt this as a part of their core skills? Because a lot of designers are really focused on, hey, I want to get good at Figma. You know, now I'm being told I got to use Lovable and Cursor and stuff like that. And, you know, I got to be good at workshops. I've got to be good in negotiating. Do you find, or do you think there's going to be some kind of pushback like, oh my God, I now need to learn this skill on top of so much that's being asked for these designers in the industry?
First off, don't get me started on the tools, okay?
Okay, look,
No.
we'll save this for another podcast.
I'm trying to keep my peace. Yes, absolutely. I think we're already seeing the trajectory. It's been like a silent trajectory, but we've already been seeing it's already happening. Like before AI, before these tools came out, like being able to speak business language is absolutely, whether it's listed out in an actual JD, the designers who are getting jobs in mid to larger level companies and even sometimes winning clients in freelance are the ones who can speak through a business lens. So yes, there's big hurrahs about this new tool and that new tool and all these things. Some of that stuff is the tools are whatever. They change, they shift all the time. Having a strong foundation in visual skills is absolutely key. The thing you have to deliver in the first place has to be good, and then the convincing comes. You and I have talked about I think you said 30-70, I think I said 40-60, whatever the number is, but 40% is the actual design, super important. 60% is how you sell it. And we talk about research, Dale. We talk about utilizing research insights. We talk about using data insights. This is business insights. It's all about what you put in your arsenal to be able to just articulate why your decisions are intentional and will be impactful. So again, maybe we won't see a big config business metrics conference, but the designers who have impact on businesses are the ones who excel, succeed, get promotions, move up into higher roles. So yeah, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that it is required. It might be a silent requirement, but totally.
I think what she said is absolutely, it's impactful. It's as you mentioned, it's business impact, and it's the whole thing about, selling, bringing business impact, showing the value of design. And I think it's, as you mentioned, it's something that people need. People might not like it, and it's as you mentioned, it's silently happening behind the scenes. But I'm glad you're bringing this to the forefront. Sorry.
Yeah, I want to add to that as well, because I think we're talking about how our role is shifting with AI, with these visual tools, with the threat that kind of the relatively rudimentary UX and UI is going to be handled. It's going to be handled by AI and stuff, right? And even because I've been using AI even to test and look at the business logic of particular designs, it can also do a bit of that as well. But what I full-heartedly believe is, yeah, we will see this evolution. It's not going to happen next year or the year after. But the visual skills it's going to be handled. It's going to be handled by robots. And so your ability to, one, know what good looks like, super important. But then two, articulate to other folks who don't necessarily understand the visual side is, I think, even going to become more important. That's your value. If our value isn't just purely visual, purely in the execution of the delivery of the thing, then where is it? It's as a strategic partner who can say why this is a good idea to go this way. But yeah, and if you can't do that, I think you're going to be at real risk as we move forward with the tools and the kind of technology advances that we're seeing.
Yeah, no, that's really, really good. And it's interesting as well because there is this the UX landscape at the moment, especially in the job search or people who are affected by layoffs, that there is this underlying feeling at the moment that I've noticed that the real value of designers and researchers isn't really being seen and it's not being utilized. And that obviously comes down to what you're going to be talking about, Miranda, around how you can show your value in a business context and that's how you show your value. If you're just being a reactive designer or a reactive researcher, not really understanding the whys and the hows behind what you're doing, the business eventually is going to see it's not going to see you as a valuable asset. They're going to turn to other valuable assets within the organization. So I think it's really timely, and I think it's on a lot of people's minds. So I think that will be something really useful for people attending your talk. And just to tie that in now with my next question, if there is one thing that you want your attendees to take away from your talk, not to put you on the spot, what would that be? If you wanted that one line or that thing that they can take away and apply the next day in their career, in their role, in their job search, what would that be?
I think it's tricky because it's at different levels. Like, what would I want a junior to take away versus a senior?
If you want to split it out, then
okay, maybe I'll try to do two. I would say for kind of lower level designers, maybe mid to junior, I would say I want them to take away the inspiration to understand, inspiration to go back into their environment, into their work, and just whatever the thing that they're working on that day is, think about, okay, what am I doing for the business? Like, what if I just took 5 minutes, what would I think, based off of Miranda's talk, what is the thing I'm actually trying to achieve with this? And maybe the words click through or conversion kind of come through their mind. It would just make them curious, maybe to better understand what their team KPIs are, or OKRs, whatever the acronym of the day is. That's what I would want like a lower level designer to take away. For a senior level designer, I would hope that they take away, like, I want to do this in my next project. Like, I feel empowered to do this in my next project. I'm going to go talk to my PM, my whoever's the driver of it in my organization, and say, what are we trying to do? What are our goals this quarter? Like, have that conversation with their, I guess, product counterpart, whatever title they have, and just have that understanding and then utilize that in their next design presentation. Like, actually say, hey, I know we're trying to work on click-through. This is why we're going to get click-through in the next one.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that's awesome. And because obviously with the title of the conference of ValueUX, we want our attendees to come away with that value and really feel that it wasn't just a conference that they sat through to, let's say, tick a box that they've been to a UX conference, because sometimes that might be why people attend, because it looks good when you take a photo at a conference. We want people to come away and start applying that immediately. Like, okay, as you said, let me get curious. What are these conversion rates? What do they mean? How can I now think about that in the design that I'm doing? Or even just start asking questions to the senior designer. Or what does that mean? Is that design decision applied to this conversion or that KPI, et cetera, et cetera? And obviously, if you're more senior, getting more involved with your product counterpart or the managers and really be the driving force. So that sounds really good. So yeah, thanks for going through that. I'm sorry to put you on the spot. It wasn't
No,
my
it's cool.
intention.
I actually appreciate the question, because I am super critical of conferences. I don't actually attend very many conferences because I had too many occasions where I just go sit and I'm like, that's nice, and then I walk
Yeah.
away. You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm really aiming to have something where, even if yeah, a very tangible example, if a designer is sitting there and they're like, oh, users are really frustrated by, like, with this thing, and they're doing this, we're looking at things like time on task and some other UX metrics. They should then be able to, after my talk, be able to, okay, I'm focusing on time on task. That immediately means we're losing conversion through this part of our product experience, because yeah, for the most part, all UX metrics and things that you're trying to focus on ladder up into a business one. So it's all about just adding that to the design crit when you present your solution.
Miranda, I think you hit the nail on the head with that comment. And I think me and Dell have been to the same way. We've been to conferences, and it's just like, yeah, it doesn't really bring that value. And I think one of the key things I noticed when we started to speak to people before we started ValueUX was the ability to come up to some of the speakers and just ask questions, because some people in these conferences tend to be shy. They don't have it there to really just walk up to someone and start chatting. And we wanted to ask you, like, are you going to be floating around on the conference day, and are you going to be involving yourself in some of the discussion tables that are going on? And would it be okay that some of the audience can come up to you and come ask you questions?
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to explore your interior design skills. Really looking forward to it. So yeah, I'm going to be absolutely all over the place, and it might be hard to find me because I'll be checking everything out. But yeah, no, to your point, absolutely. Yeah. I'd love for people to come up and chat with me. I think, yeah, you can hopefully see, if you have seen any of my content, I'm super approachable. I love challenging questions. That's why I do like interactive types of live sessions and stuff like that with folks all the time. So I would absolutely be super happy if people came up and chatted about the topic, or realistically into the topic. I know lots of stuff. I've been doing this for a while, so it doesn't also have to only be about metrics and whatnot.
And not just to put the pressure on you, so they're
Hearing that
available.
a lot.
But are you going to be floating around on just the day that you're going to be speaking, or would you also be floating around any of the other days? Obviously, it's not a mandatory thing, but just so that the audience can know, would you only be available on the day that you're headlining at the conference?
I think I will probably 100% for sure be on that day. I think I would probably be in and out the other days. So I might be trickier to track down. Yeah. So I don't know if I could go full bore the other days, but yeah. So your best chance, definitely the day that I'm speaking. Your other chances are still there, but not as easy.
Brilliant.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm sure there'll be a queue as well.
Yeah, that's why I think we have to give her a section after
Give me a
talk
booth.
for her.
Yeah, actually thinking about that as well. Our own room.
Yeah, either give her own room, and then or just make sure there's some rows so that people can just queue up and start asking her questions. So yeah, we need to speak about that. Yeah, it'll be like airport security.
Security avatars.
So Dale, I just want to double check. So Miranda is headlining the first day of the conference. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, on the Tuesday, 30th of September.
Brilliant. So yes, please drop your comments down below if there's anything that you want to ask Miranda before she presents at the conference. Again, she is the first headliner, so we will definitely be there. Yep, hands up in the air. Me and Del are really looking forward to this talk because as mentioned, I think your brand brings a lot of education and a lot of impact to the people that view it. So we're expecting a lot of people to resonate with what you're saying. So, Del.
Yeah. So I can't see you guys because it's kind of frozen, so I wasn't sure.
Okay. We're keeping all these glitches in. I think we should keep all these glitches in because our podcasting, yeah, it's authentic, and it's like two podcasters who just have so many technical issues. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not in my usual studio, so that could be why. But yeah, no, it's been awesome to have you today, Miranda, and also just go through a bit about just the reasons why you put together the topic for this talk, and also giving some real life examples of the feelings that you've had and the experiences that you've had in your roles in your career, because as you said, you've been in this role a long time, and seeing how that's shaping this talk. And also it helps the attendees just understand that this is really coming from a good place, from a good person, but also from a good place, because there is a lot of clickbaity stuff out there with little substance. Be again a topic for another day, but you can really see from your experience and also the passion with which you talk about what you're going to talk about at the conference that it's really going to bring value. So thanks for going through that today. And yeah, I'm sure it's whet the appetite of all of our listeners.
Hopefully so. Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me, both of you.